Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia and I just finished mapping. So welcome back to another chill session of conclusions, and it took me so long. I literally just got out. I missed the window to post a still rep. So yeah, so here we are doing conclusions, which means I will not cover every single front line, but I'll cover some of these what I think through my mapping is significant ones. So I think one of the thing that of course everybody is most interested in right now is Velyka Novosilka. The battle of Velyka Novosilka is ongoing, and we have some major updates from Ukrainian mapping. The Russian forces have basically captured the entire eastern part of Velyka Novosilka. This is based on oh, there's some tiny arrows, too tiny, too tiny. No, we our arrows are way thicker, right? Long and thick, right? So over at this Velyka Novosilka, the Russian forces, let me not highlight that. Russian forces basically have captured the entire eastern part of Velyka Novosilka, even which means that this entire because Velyka Novosilka is actually break up in multiple parts. So there is this area. Okay, let's break it down. So we have this area. This is cut off by the river. So this is maybe let's call it A, and then we have another this river cutting this way, and yeah, I should have zoomed in. This is a mistake, but anyway, yeah, it and then this way. So this is B, C, and D. So because there's another river here, so it's but D is actually Vremivka. So it's not Velyka Novosilka. So there's actually three parts to Velyka Novosilka. The northern part is now basically entirely under Russian control because of this mapping. Like yeah, because it's to Ukrainians to be here. But I mean, it's not impossible. Like there is a crossing in this area just at the end of this Kashlahash River. So I mean, they could still potentially hold the positions here, but the Russians have already taken all of this area here, and this crossing is gone. And I mean, yeah, there is always the danger where the Russians could attack across the river and then go for the other side of the river, and then causing this to be an encirclement. So this is another trap. But of course, this group is safer. They can actually run. But what will happen is the people in the center and the south is now doomed. So there is this various group of forces that is now in big danger. And the Russians have also taken more grounds towards the center of Velyka Novosilka. They are heading for the bridge. I think the arrow is to be too thick. So they are heading for the bridge here, and so this is a yeah, this is problematic because once the Russians go there, and you imagine the Russians is already here, then the entire southern part, any Ukrainian forces defending in the south over here, they will be encircled. So I'm still not sure why the Ukrainians are still fighting at Velyka Novosilka. The situation is just horrible. But it is what it is. They are still fighting over there. So let's see what the Ukrainians can do. So this is the latest update with the Russians taking, most of section A of Velyka Novosilka, or basically the entire eastern part, or the eastern part of Velyka Novosilka. So that's what it is. This is one of the major ones. The other things is the salient. There's this stupid salient north of Slovyanka that is now falling down. As usual, this kind of salient cannot be held, and so down is taken by the Russian forces predictably. So that's nothing particularly special in that sense. And the Russians are pushing towards Shripney from the south in a flanking operation, bypassing Novo and Drievka. So pretty clever in that sense. And what else? Some other major things. Russian forces have taken more grounds in Kotline. They have basically on the verge of capturing the full city, a full village or full town around here. This will become a very good forward operating base for the Russians to continue to push for the other highway, which I did mention before. They are most likely going to head up north to cut the highway from Pokrovsk, which is from Pokrovsk leading all the way to Dnipro. So this will be pretty useful for the Russians if they get it. And the distance from the highway, let's say going up North Street, is around 5 kilometers. Yeah, it's not that impossible for the Russians given what is happening. And the Russians is already preparing the ground. They are shelling Khryshine as well as Serhievka. So this is based on the Russian Defense Ministry's latest reports today. So that's happening. Ukrainians are still holding the line as much as they can. Counter-attack was being reported at Dashne and Shevchenko, with Deep State UA claiming that they have taken back some ground. However, what it changed is the firm Russian grounds in their mapping is reduced, but the gray zone remains. So in that sense, it doesn't change DPA mapping. So that is just what it is. Russian Defense Ministry announced capture of Vovkove, not very important. The intestines is still here. For some reason, it's still there. What else? What else do we have? Another salient in the southwest of Vozdevizhenka. I mentioned before, this is impossible to be the case, to be holdable. So Ukrainian mapping have now acknowledged that they have lost it. So everything north of Timofeyevka and west of Vozdevizhenka is now under Russian control. Sensible. However, the Ukrainians deep mapped and insist that this incursion has failed by the Russians. They did not hold the position over at this highway junction. They mapped that the Russian lines is here, and this is essentially on the DPS mapping is a Ukrainian claim, of course, because previously this was a geolocation. So, but I did also mention to you that the Russian position all the way to the highway exchange is not holdable, is a bit too far. So most likely the Ukrainian mapping is accurate in this sense. So I think that's exactly what is happening. Yeah, it's a bit too far for the Russians to hold the line. They need more firm ground to build from. Like they need the entirety of this. They need the few of these three lines and maybe attack into Vodiany Druhi, taking half of it. Then they can actually take the highway junction. If not, then yeah, it's a bit too ambitious. But it was a surprise that they managed to go that far. And the Russians are starting to attack Baranivka and Zeleny Pole again. Probably is still diversionary, if in my opinion. There's no reason to push in this direction, because if you look at the mapping, where do you go from here? Yeah, you know where. You just stuck in the middle of a lot of entrenchments, and then you have a fortress city in Konstantinivka. So this doesn't make much sense for the Russians to push through. So I don't expect too much from that area. Then there is new update in the Toretsk front as well. The Russian forces have entered into Krimsky and captured most of Krimsky, and this is by geolocation. Is confirmed. Yeah, so we don't have much of Krimsky left. There's some here, and maybe there's another group of residential area in the other side. So, and then some abundant Dacha region. So yeah, the Russians are still marching on in Toretsk. So yeah, there's no good news for the Ukrainians. Like even if you look at it from a geopolitical perspective, there's nothing good is happening as well. Trump has announced 90-day freeze on foreign aid, and this includes Ukraine. And this is a problem for Ukraine because you literally the entire Ukrainian government civil service is all funded by foreigners, by the Western world. Be it the Europeans or the Americans, they are literally funding the whole government and the whole military. That is just funding, that's just salary. And then not to mention, everything is on credit. No artillery shells, no weaponries, all these military aids. Everything is on credit. So so Ukraine has become that uncle or that unfilial son that just went to the casino and gambled everything off, and then get in a lot of debt. Then they use up. Then they continue to buy luxury goods with their credit cards, and then they come to you and say, "Give me more money." Yeah, that's Ukraine right now, and they tell you that no, I'm winning. I'm in the casino. I'm winning. Uh, two games out of 10. Yeah, or one game out of 10. At least they are winning at least one game. So and they promise you that the next time they go to the casino, they're gonna win the whole thing. They're gonna buy. He's gonna win and buy the whole casino. So yeah, that's Ukraine for you. So unfortunately that's the case. If you're pro Ukraine, you might feel very offended. Fact check me. Prove me wrong. How? How are you going to show me that Ukraine is winning? I have no freaking idea. So unless you're going to say about North Koreans, yeah, North Koreans, no North Koreans. So then they kill so much North Koreans. So let me show you killing North Korean. They are so successful at killing North Koreans that the Russians have advanced. Russians also advanced into Viktorovka. From the Kulenkoye region and from Leonidovo Alexandria region, they have advanced into Nikoski. So much for killing a lot of North Koreans. So, yeah, this is what it is. I mean, if you really want some victory, I can give you a little bit, which is also in the Kursk front. The Ukrainian forces have re-established control over Bakhmutka. But the Russians seems to be still attacking. Like the latest reports is still the Russian Defense Ministry are now reporting that they are attacking Manovka and they are also attacking or shelling Goncharovka. So the Russians are not deterred at all. They are now attacking real positions at Gogolevka as well. And Krylovka, Guevo still continue to be under attack by the Russian forces. It did not stop the Russians at all. And so yeah, Kursk front is just, I don't know. The entire logic that Sersky gave, like they found an opening, they exploited it, bring the war to the Russians and draw Russian troops away from the other front line. Clearly it failed, but he just make it sound like it's working, like because most of the world is not following Ukraine war like you guys right now, especially you guys who watch until 12 minutes. Most of the world don't. They do not know that the Velyka Novosilka is a strategic city that is about to fall, is encircled. They do not know that the entire Pokrovsk front, they don't even know what is a Pokrovsk front. They do not know that the Pokrovsk front is now gradually collapsing, very steadily, and the Russians are doing this massive arrow move flanking west and about to cut off all the supply routes coming directly from the west. Yeah, they don't know. And if you tell them, they also don't care. That is the reality. So that's just how it is. Another important thing happening, I think, is in the Bakhmut front. The Russian forces are doing a lot in Chasivya. They have captured the entirety of the Novis micro district. They have entered into the forest in the eastern part or southeastern part of Chasivya. They have advanced as far as the entire western part of Chasivya, and they are doing this, like yo. So this direction, yeah. Yo, like they literally so free that they do a rock sign. So although I always say this is a pointless place to capture, but yeah, a lot of people tell me it's a high ground, but this is not really that useful. Modern day warfare, like high ground is, I mean, you see them all, but it's not like World War II. It becomes a target if you're too high. So if you notice, like even it's something at least I noticed, we have a lot of hills, in all over the place. Like, in Toretsk we have these hills. But if you notice that in terms of the reporting, if you're following all the Telegram channels, these hills are largely pointless. It's useless. No one position themselves up there like a defensive position. Just no one. Anyone stay in such a prominent position is just attracting FPV drones, and then airstrikes, and then artillery strikes, TOS. So, talking about high ground nowadays, like in the modern warfare case, it's really different from the 80s or 70s or 60s warfare. It just doesn't feel the same. So I mean, yeah, and it's not like it's super high. Like this is all full of forest. The trees will be higher, I think, and you don't really see much. So yeah, this is which is why I never see Chasivia as a strategically important location. It may be strategically important for the Ukrainian as a defensive town, as a defensive position. It's not strategically important for the Russians to take it. So yeah, and there's some actions in Sivers, not so important. Then of course the breakout. So the breakout at Leeman is this is one of the very major ones. And one more, of course, the Voreshna, which I'll talk next. At Leeman, this breakthrough is very important. The Russian forces, of course, as mentioned before, have captured Ivanivka, and they have now pushed and doubled their bridgehead towards Bilohorivka. Fighting is now already moving towards Kolozyazi and towards Zelena Dolena. So this is currently ongoing and is really threatening to upset the Ukrainian defense line in this sector. Although tentatively, as I mentioned before, I'll probably mention again, the Russians are likely to hit south, attack into Yampolivka, attack into Zarishny, force the Ukrainians into fighting them basically on this line, and the Russians can basically take over the entire eastern part of the Zerevets River heading towards Toretsk. Towards Torchy. So this is what I think is likely to happen. And the Russians are already, hitting rear positions, like, shellings being reported at Dorobesheve. So the things is developing over here. I'm not sure if the Ukrainian YouTubers are reporting on this thing at all. But yeah, the other one, another bridgehead, of course, is this major one over at Voreshna, and there is major developments. Not just that the Russians have taken the entire eastern part of Voreshna, if you have missed, and the entire southern part of Voreshna and western part of Voreshna, causing the Russians to take the 2/3 of this city. The Russian Defense Ministry has announced the capture of Zapatne in their latest situation report, which means that there's a high chance that the Russians have already taken the grounds. So like this, they could have already taken Zapatne, and this is going to be pretty bad. The Russians have basically a very strong position in Voreshna already, having a foothold as Zapatne, which means the Russians can now attack next into Monashinevka or Dorshevka. But of course, the terrain here is like, really, really chaotic because of all the gullies all over the place. But if the Ukrainians are not holding the defense line well, then we might see a breakout. And given that if they have taken Zapatne, which means this highway is now under Russian control, that means they have direct links with their friendly forces over in Voreshna. So this will develop into this. I show you. Okay, this is not anything. Actually, I want to draw a bone. Like, yeah, it will become a bone. So very strategic. This bone will attract a lot of Ukrainian forces into trying to bite this bone. Like, this is likely going to be the case. And if they attract a lot of attention into this bone, then the Russians would have some opportunity to break through in Kupiansk. So tentatively, it's still not possible. The defense line in Kupiansk is just too strong. But this is interesting to me, the announcement of the capture of Zapatne. And previously, they have announced the capture of Kalinove. So if we're going to believe the Russians entirely, then we are seeing the front line to look something like this, which is yeah, quite something. So, but tentatively, there's no corroboration to the capture of Kalinove. So let's just wait. And this attack here is getting more successful. Of course, there is also reports of Kutkivka getting attacked by the reported by the Ukrainians, likely coming from Vesna as the Russians continue to push on towards Kutkivka, ignoring the Ukrainian forces that is defending over at Vesna. So this is also probably happening, and there is already geolocation of FPV drone hitting Ukrainian positions nearby. So, and the Russians are continuing their diversionary attempt over in the border region, with a latest report that the Russian Defense Ministry announced attacks on Ukrainian forces at Kayamka. So this area is very, very, very tricky for the Ukrainians. I'm not sure how much like resources they should put into this area, and yeah, the Russians are really stretching the Ukrainians really, really badly. And otherwise, I think nothing much in Kharkiv, Borova front, nothing much really to talk about, I would say. Yeah. So so let's leave it at this. Let's not go too far. This is the conclusions. And yeah, I let's talk a bit more about the Ukrainian strategic geostrategic situation right now. If they don't have funding coming from the United States, then we might see some payment problem towards the salary. I'm not sure if Ukraine can print money or something. Of course, it will lead to hyperinflation, but I think they might do it. They might, because if they don't pay, then they're going to have more problems than what they already have. Like they already having problems recruiting and mobilizing troops, and a lot of corruption, clearly, a lot of desertion. And then if they don't pay the salary, people don't want to fight, then that will increase desertion. Yeah, and it might also breed more resentment, and yeah, I wonder if it will go into some form of mutiny. This is unclear, but Ukraine is a huge country, it's too big. No, it's very, very big. I mean, to do a mutiny is not so easy, not so simple. So let's see. The things is developing. Trump is settling down. He is doing a lot, as he promised. A lot of executive orders, a lot of things is moving, and it looks like the Americans' priorities is going to be internal, and also about clearing their debt, creating more fair trade with the rest of even their allies, because they are hemorrhaging money. So they are trying to do that. They're going to sack a lot of people, so in their government. So which is why there is the 90-day freeze. It's all part of this fiscal reassessment, and they also hiring freeze. They also freeze all hirings. So Trump's administration is serious on trying to fix the inherent problems with the American system. And I think Ukraine was going to take a backseat. From what I heard from the press conference, and some of the questions that was asked to Trump regarding Ukraine, Trump's position regarding Ukraine is that he has spoke to Ukraine, to Zelensky, generally speaking, but clearly, the conversation is predictable. Trump want peace, Zelensky don't want. He's probably entertaining Trump, and Trump's priority is to meet with Putin. The meeting with Putin is not going to happen very, very soon. They are still trying to organize it. Trump just entered office, so it will take a little bit of time. And the aim is to make a deal. The journalist did ask him whether if Putin reject the peace deal coming from Trump, or the deal coming from Trump, will Trump sanction Russia harder? He said, yeah, possibly, no, why not? But of course, what else is there to sanction? I'm not sure. So anyway, it will just end up sanctioning US friendly countries, because the only way you can sanction Russia is to sanction anyone that trades with Russia. But that is going to be very difficult, because Russia is a breadbasket of the world. No, not really just Ukraine. Russia is as well. In fact, Russia produces more grain than Ukraine. So they are a massive exporter of grain. So that's very, very important to note. Not just gas, not just energy, not just oil. So it's not going to be so simple. There must be some kind of deal. And Zelensky told Trump, from my memory of what Trump said, is that Zelensky told Trump that that he wants peace. Ukraine wants peace. Zelensky wants peace. But of course, there's always the Zelensky's narrative, because his peace means Ukraine get back all the land, which is never going to happen. So yeah, so that's anyway. This is the conclusions. Oops, earthquake. Because I said the wrong thing. CIA dropped earthquake on me. So no. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Let me know what you think. So these are conclusions. If you are new to the conclusions, it's basically more towards my opinions and analysis. It's less about just reporting the facts. So anyway, that's all. Press the like button, subscribe, help me reach 100k. So 100k is coming soon. Hopefully I can get it this year. If I can't, then that's quite depressing. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next update.